the classic game about, fishing? There's some bugs too, and museums, evil capitalist raccoons, and very cute animal neighbors. Some are friendly, others are rude, and others are a little too friendly with you to the point that they're practically hitting on you. And if you think it stops here, no, Zell keeps sending me letters like this.
To Midnight's Tachi, what do you wish when you look up at the night sky? I wish for someone special to be there watching the stars with me. Who's the special someone? I wonder. From Believer Zell.
Sir, you are a gazelle and I'm a human. I don't think this falls into Nintendo guidelines. Animal Crossing is one of Nintendo's most wholesome and beloved franchises. Though it started out in the N64, that version was only released in Japan, making the version that most of us in the West remember to be the GameCube one. It was really ugly. I don't like it. Particularly the player character, looks like a nasty little troll. My first actual copy of Animal Crossing was the Wii version, City Folk, which was exactly the same as the other versions except that it had a city! Nice! But actually, this game wasn't meant for me originally. My parents bought it for some other kid as a birthday present, but I guess they forgot to give it to them? So I found it, and I guess indirectly stole it from this kid. And so the years went by and I'd play City Folk from time to time until the pandemic hit, and conveniently around the same time that Animal Crossing New Horizons for the Switch was released. This led to people mass buying New Horizons so that they could feel something, anything. It was crazy. People who couldn't go to parties or come to each other's houses would meet up in their Animal Crossing towns. People were having graduation ceremonies in Animal Crossing. New Horizons pretty much revived the fandom and made it soar back to relevancy like no tomorrow. Everything from posts about people's clothing designs all over your Twitter feed to this damn cat that the entire internet was obsessed with. Everyone seemed like they were having a lot of fun, and I wanted to join in. I really did. But alas, I did not have a Nintendo Switch or the money to ever get one. But you know what I did have? A 3DS. And so in that time of desperation, a certain memory came to me. It was 2015. I was on a trip with my parents in New York City, and we ended up inside the giant 5-floor Toys R Us store. Rest in peace. But in there, to my surprise, I found Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS. And I wanted it so badly. I begged my parents, said I'd work to pay it back, but no, they said. So I sadly left the store, never to go back there again. Flash forward and it's 2020, the world is literally a dumpster fire, and people's only source of comfort is a game about fishing and talking animals. So I realized, I have the money now. I work and sell commissions, I make my own little side money. So I bought it. Finally, with my own money. 5 years later, but it felt nice. Like I was making my younger self happy. I finally got the game, and I loved it. It was a lot of fun, but that fun soon turned to boredom because there was no one to play with. Because everyone was playing on the Switch, the 3DS community was practically dead. And it's not like I could try the Wii community. But then I thought outside the box and decided to search on Discord instead. To my surprise, I found a small but thriving community of Animal Crossing 3DS players and hackers. Not the online threat take over the government type, but hackers you could actually hire and pay money to hack your game for you and give you assets. Infinite fruit, golden tools, whatever piece of furniture your heart desired, these guys could give you it. It was quite surprising and amusing to me. Out of all the games out there to hack, difficult games like Dark Souls or epic expansive games like Fallout or Zelda, no, they picked Animal Crossing. Out of all the games to have a hacking community. Instead of hacking to skip difficult boss stages, getting extremely rare items, or accomplishing impossible feats, they instead risk facing Nintendo's wrath to have their favorite office cat villager in their town. However, there was one hack that I ended up getting myself involved in. One that pretty much made me into a millionaire overnight. By far, one of the most popular hacks in Animal Crossing games is turnip prices. See, Animal Crossing has this little gimmick called turnips. Basically, it's like the stock market, like trading and stuff, except in-game it's called the stalk market. Get it? Stalk. It's funny. But basically, it's meant to emulate trading stocks. You buy turnips every Sunday at a random set price, and then it's up to you to watch the turnip prices rise and fall throughout the week to determine when it's the best time to sell them for maximum profit. And since I know all this stuff, I'm pretty much qualified to work at Wall Street. So if your social media posts in mid-2020 were filled with people freaking out over turnips, this was why. And so here I was with my game, finally making some friends and visiting their towns. Until I met Andy. To give you a notion, the maximum price that turnips can sell for are 300 bells each. But then this guy comes along and says in his town they're selling for 999 bells. Clearly this was impossible and he had to have hacked this game. I decided that selling apples for less than a minimum wage pay of 100 bells was getting annoying. So I packed my turnips and headed off to Andy's town. Right off the bat, his entire town was hard to walk in because of how entirely broken it was. It looked pretty cool, and also completely absurd because there were things forced into spaces and tiles where they obviously shouldn't have been. I'm talking flowers underwater, trees overtaking literally every available space, and players getting stuck in the river. Still, one has to admire his tenacity and dedication to break the game's laws of physics to achieve his perfect town. But I came here for a purpose. Turnips. I was pretty shocked as the first batch of turnips I tried to sell netted me more than 1,000,000 bells. Just so you know, the most expensive items in the game don't go upwards of 500k, and I still had even more turnips to sell. But unfortunately my hopes and dreams died right after that because both of our games crashed. All the money I made, down the drain. And the game kept crashing because turns out the guy had so many cheats on that the game literally couldn't take it. Eventually Andy came up with a brilliant solution and just said to invite him to my town. I did, not knowing what to expect. When, to my shock, the dude started dropping literal bags of money all over the grass. There were so many of them that I physically couldn't pick them all up. And my game crashed again when I tried. And that's all he did. Came to my town, dropped a ludicrous amount of money in my backyard, and left. Just like that. I ended up with over 16 million bells for this entire ordeal. And it turns out I still missed some bags of money because some of them ended up in the lost and found the day afterwards. Just random bags of 99,000 bells. I had so much cash in my bank that I was physically unable to spend all of it. Even the most expensive items in the game didn't even make me break a sweat. At this point in my life, I finally knew what it was like to be Jeff Bezos. To have so much money that no mere mortal could ever match up to me. So much that not even the world's highest luxuries would affect me in the slightest. Because to me, it was like losing a penny when I had a $100 bill. Nothing in the stores was off limits to me. There was literally nothing my money couldn't buy. The game wasn't a challenge to me anymore. If I had nearly infinite money to get me the most valuable things with no effort, then they no longer had value to me. The game wasn't fun anymore. Perhaps the true meaning and fulfillment of Animal Crossing lies in the fact that you can't have everything, so you tremendously value what you do have. Therefore, when those barriers preventing you from getting everything come down, that value disappears. The fun and fulfillment all disappear because what's the point of spending hours of time grinding for a tool or a piece of furniture that you can just hack into the game anyway? What's the point of working to achieve something if you can just get it instantly? And even after all this money, I technically needed 4 million more. You see, you save up all your money at the ATM and the post office. They'll give you prizes if you save up certain amounts, like 1 million, 5 million, 10 million, and so on. The ultimate prize is when you save up a whopping 20 million bells. But then what? I have achieved the pinnacle of capitalism. I have saved an absurd amount of money in the bank and received a mere piece of furniture as a reward. But what happens then? Will this furniture make me happy now? Will it be enough to fill the void in my empty heart? Will it make life worth living again? And you might be wondering, just what is this marvelous piece of furniture awarded to you, which is technically worth 20 million bells? What do you get after accumulating such a ludicrous amount of cash? It's a safe. A safe, used to store even more money. There's something weirdly poetic in the fact that I started this game being in crippling debt to this raccoon and ended it with enough money to buy his entire store twice. And yet, not even that is enough. No number of material possessions obtained through my limitless monetary supply is enough to fill the void in my soul. Ironically, in the end, Andy, who was responsible for my millionaire status, used so many cheats that he ended up using one of them wrong, corrupted his save file, and had his entire game erased. There's a lesson here that applies to real life somewhere, I think. But I don't know what it is. Whatever. This brings me to the end of this reflective and tragic tale. I'm honestly not even sure what I'm doing with all this. It's just something funny that happened to me when I was playing Animal Crossing. I thought it'd be cool to dramatize it into a video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. I hope you guys like this more off-the-cuff thing. Follow me on Twitter, and if you're inclined, join my Discord server. Links are all in the description below, along with my Patreon. But before you leave, please listen, because I have something important to tell all of you. Hey guys. I just wanted to let you all know I'm sorry I never do this. You've probably been wondering why I've been so absent lately, and why I'm just not posting videos as often as I used to. The truth is, I've been having difficult times in my house. I've been feeling constantly angry, sad, frustrated, and very alone. I'm actually planning to find another place to stay. I don't know how my future will be or where I'm gonna go from here, and this is where I'm asking if any of you would be so incredibly kind as to help me out on Patreon. None of you have to do this if you're saving up, don't have as much to give, or just plain don't want to. I'm not forcing anyone. I'd just be very grateful for those of you who might want to help, little as it could be. Even just $1 would help me out immensely, and I have rewards for everyone who does. Thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate it. See you next time.